Hi everyone, good morning and welcome to CCC Morning Devotional. Today, our passage will be again taken from the book of Psalm, chapter 23. We'll continue on what we discussed last time. So let me read the passage for us. Psalm chapter 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thus says the Lord. Um, Last time we talked about this psalm as a pilgrimage psalm, which takes us to the journey of life, the good, the bad, and the best season. This psalm shows us that God is our shepherd in all of the seasons in our life. In a good season where there is an abundance of things, He reminds us that we are the sheep and not the shepherd. The sheep doesn't find its own grass, but dependent upon the shepherd, which humbles us from our pride and lead us to worship Him in our highs, so that we might not wander and forget Him and stray away. Through the bad season, through the valley, through the difficult and dark season in our life, knowing the Lord as our shepherd prompts us to have rest. Rest not because we dismiss the hard situation or the danger, but we find rest knowing that He is our shepherd who will protect us from the real harm, even though we are in the valley of deep shadows. Um, it prompts us to have a deep trust in His love and providence day by day in the valley of life. And the best season, it portrays the wedding feast and the eternal Sabbath rest. He is our shepherd who will lead us to that feast in the new heaven and new earth that will not end. We will never have to leave the feast. It says in verses 5 and 6, you prepare a table before me, my cup overflows, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And friends, this psalm is not just describing life, the different seasons in our life, but it shapes our thinking about life. What does it mean to live this life with God as our shepherd? How does that give us true rest, even in our highs or in our lows? And today we will look at another angle for this passage, which is the problem of sin. I think we will better understand this passage if we look at it with the perspective that we live in a fallen world. Well, the world was created good by God. It says in Genesis that everything was good, created good by God. And in the Garden of Eden, God dwelt with His people with such intimate fellowship with one another, right? Yet man disobeyed God's command, did not trust God's providence and God's love for them, which led to death, a spiritual death, which is an alienation and separation between God and man. Man was cast out from the Garden of Eden and no longer enjoyed God's presence intimately in that way. And also physical death, though not immediately. And the consequences of the curse of sin has corrupted all relationships, man and God, man and man, and man and ground. Hence, there are many kinds of problems, natural disasters, relationship problems, health problems, and many other kind of problems. And friends, we do live in this fallen world. So we definitely have a wrong understanding if we expect perfection in this world without evil or suffering. The effect of sin is real. So the bad season portrayed in this passage in verse 4, walking through the valley of the shadow of death, is actually the reality of this fallen world. While the good season in verses 1 and 2, green pastures, still waters, Those are actually a privilege, God's grace, something that He gives to us and let us to enjoy out of His grace. And the end of this passage, verses 5 and 6, which portrays a king welcoming people to feast, to a feast. And furthermore, it says in verse 6b, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This beautiful portrayal of a king welcoming people in a banquet um, is actually a reversal of the curse, the redemption, what has been lost from the Garden of Eden. We who were once alienated, separated from God, and lost the intimate, perfect relationship with God, now being welcomed to His feast, to His banquet, and we will never have to leave. And at this table, God declares that He has no grudge against us. We are His people, welcome to His banquet, enjoying His presence with such intimacy. And this is even better than Eden because it will have no end. We never have to return to the valley of deep shadows. There will be no temptation and sin. And it's a permanent home, it's an eternal rest. So the question that we should ask is, how come it's even possible, right? How can we enter that feast? Well, it is because Christ, who is our good shepherd, went through the deepest valley on the cross. He took our curse and the wrath of God and experienced abandonment in the true deepest valley when He said, my God, why have you forsaken me? So that we will never have to go through that deepest valley. He was forsaken, abandoned, so that we can be reconciled and enjoy the intimacy that has no end. So this Psalm 23 is actually a picture of intimacy, which provides us true comfort and rest and refreshment of the soul. Because not just will we enjoy that perfect intimacy in the new heaven and new earth, in the eternal Sabbath rest that is so beautiful and such a perfect portrayal of that feast in this passage, but also we enjoy the intimacy here and now in this broken world, that we won't ever be forsaken in the highs and in the lows, even in the true deepest valley of life. He will guide us, sustain us, present with us till the end, till we enjoy the feast that has no end, because He is our good shepherd. So let us rest in His care, and I hope that we are encouraged and find rest in the truth.